Okay, what I'd like to say is what I will be doing for 2, maybe 3 people is to offer a deeper demonstration of work with this individual and with other individuals. And it is a sort of preparation for the process that's going to follow. I think that's all I'll say right now. It has to do, the objective has to do with, remember the exercises this morning around experientially connecting to the inner experience, particularly the quality of the value or the need, regardless of whether it's fulfilled or not, leads to a more direct experience of this embodied quality. So that is sort of, and then dwelling in that embodied quality of the need or the value. That's sort of the intentionality of all of this. And there can be any starting point. So without further ado, we'll just start. So I'd just like to begin with just to check in with you and just how you're doing right now.
It's an odd mixture. I feel incredibly privileged to be sitting in front, having a chance to have a conversation with you. There's a bit of some nervousness and things. And I'm quite excited because I'm really enjoying beginning to get to know you and your work.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's have a starting point, an entryway into the exploration and the nature of the experience. I think the starting point can be perhaps an experience that you can refer to that you can still connect to in this moment. Very similar to what was addressed before around an experience that was either in harmony or not in harmony with something you value. And you can choose whatever you can connect to. So
I think I'd like to explore the one that I started to explore on my own.
okay.
That's a difficult experience from a week or so ago. Yeah, but basically someone I've been having a relationship with for 1.5 years, and it's just always been really, really difficult. And we sort of ended it. But we're still sort of friends, and then it just feels like constantly the communication goes wrong. And so it was just a sort of sadness and frustration around that.
Okay. So as you're sharing the experience, there's a series of experiences and events. A relationship of 1.5 years. You both ended it fairly recently, and then even since that, I'm guessing before and since then, the series of communications that aren't enjoyable, aren't as fully connecting as you would like.
Yeah.
Perhaps some frustration, some sadness. Is that?
I think constantly feeling that where I'm coming from is misinterpreted or understood in a way that's so different from what I'm intending. And then she's upset and hurt by something I feel I haven't actually done or intended.
Yeah, okay. So that, what you just shared would be one example, and I'm guessing that when you share that experience, that this is an experience that brings up some feeling, perhaps, of distress. Yeah. So as you share it, can you get in touch with just this moment? What comes up inside of you?
There's a slightly sort of almost cut-offness, a sort of, also I don't want to experience that, as sort of, it's almost safer just to have it at an intellectual level and not to really feel it. So I know the first thing I noticed is almost like that slight barrier to it.
Okay. So you just notice, this comes to your attention, and this senses two-part, I'm sensing an energetic cut-offness. Mm-hmm. You went like this, and a barrier. And then there's a part that has words, thought, I was like, I don't want to go there. Mm. You notice those 2 dimensions.
And so part of me wants to go there, and part, it's sort of because I don't want to deny the experience that's happening, but almost like I have a habit of doing that.
Yeah, almost as though you're torn 2 different directions. There's some reasons that draws you towards. You don't want to deny it. You want sense some value in it, and yet some habitual pattern keeps you from going there, perhaps feeling the pain or the discomfort. Yeah. Okay, so just notice that pull in those two different directions. Just stay with that feeling, sensation of that.
And some of it is just noticing the sort of the chatter in my head that it's a bit critical and a bit sort of downing of me, but it's, there's a sadness and a frustration.
Okay. Sense of chatter in your head that has a bit of criticalness. It sounds a bit critical. And then with that, I'm sensing a feeling of frustration, sadness. All of those three dimensions are going on at once.
And then there's also quite a strange sense of sort of peace or something that's holding all of that as well.
Okay. And when you tune into that peace, it's holding it well. You sense what is the feeling in the body with that. Is there a physical sensation associated with that peace?
Yeah, it's quite sort of calm. It's almost a lack of all the sort of tensions or the particulars. It feels like there's a bit of a sort of softness, really.
Okay. So here you are. In the whole experience, there's some softness, almost as though it's containing all the other experiencing.
Yeah.
The criticalness, perhaps frustration, sadness. It's all there. Okay. So you just sit with that. Just be with it. Notice what emerges.
I guess in some ways right now that experience seems a bit not important compared to just the presence of now. And then I don't entirely trust that because I think it's those experiences do have an importance and it doesn't feel resolved either.
Yeah. Okay. Again, the sense of the part of you is assesses that you're in this peaceful state, perhaps a presence, and that part of you evaluates this as maybe it's not important. And yet I'm hearing another part of you saying, I'm not really trusting that because this sense of this kind of experience, you're wanting to experience it or explore it in a different way so that there's maybe resolution or something like that.
Yeah, and I suppose I really want to be able to respond differently. If probably when rather than if the next time that something like that happens.
Yeah. So even saying that, I'm wanting to respond differently, the sense of there's a value or a wanting in you with respect to this relationship and the interactions. A wanting, a desire to respond differently.
Yeah, I think it's a yearning to be able to, to be really just open and, to be open and to value what's happening.
Yeah. So you want to value what's happening. You want to be open to it. And just to acknowledge in the space of this wanting, there's another experience that you referred to earlier of reaction. The sense that both of these are going on if you tune into it. And the reaction was something like, I'm not heard in the way I want to be. The way I'm intending to be heard and responded to is different than what I'm receiving from you. And because that is a value for wanting to be heard in a certain way, then it leaves you with some frustration and sadness.
Yeah, and I end up feeling, obviously it turns out into sort of a self-doubt or self-accusation. I didn't communicate well enough, or I didn't do it well enough, or I didn't meet the standard of what was required of me. And I'm not therefore quite good enough.
So again, this emerges, the self-criticism or self-judgment perhaps. I didn't quite do it quite good enough. I didn't respond good enough. So what we're doing here is just sort of standing back, just observing all of those elements. So now with this voice, a sense of listening to this voice. I didn't do it well enough. In this voice, is there something you're needing and wanting?
It's something around, I suppose it's acceptance, I guess it's love, it's the holding it all.
Yeah. So in this relationship, the way you responded is really, you're wanting to respond differently. You're wanting to be in an experience of acceptance. Is that to accept the message coming in, accept the other person?
Yeah, both ways. Yeah.
Both ways. You want the mutual acceptance. So you long to be received with your intention when you communicate. And in that reception, there's acceptance there.
And I think equally, I want to be rather more able to hear the deeper thing that's been offered to me, and to hear it, what's really been offered, rather than that superficial thing that I react to.
Your reaction. So even as you say that, I'm hearing, you sense there's something else, something deeper that the other person is communicating, and you long to hear that. So just even as I reflect that back, you have a sense of, let yourself connect to that longing.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Notice what you feel like as you say that, as you get in touch with the beauty of that. I see it in your eyes, but I'm wondering, can you share with me just the sense of the energetic feeling in the body?
It's an area I suddenly don't feel terribly articulate in.
Yeah, the words don't matter so much. Just let whatever comes out.
Something an area of a sense of flow and a deep peace.
A deep peace. The sense of flow as you dwell in the quality of acceptance. You receive the communication from the other. You sense something deeper in connecting with this person. Peace and flow.
I wish it was a bit more like you. You know, she needs a few of your talents. Yeah.
Well, again, that's the other longing. Don't you long to be received with presence? Long to be received in an openness and understanding. Is that what the longing is? Now, even as you say that part, it's the mutuality part. Sense in this moment, perhaps you're sensing a kind of receptivity that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And you feel that as you even sense into it now.
And then there's, like you were saying earlier this morning, and there's always a little something that comes in.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah. And what is that came in? It's okay.
There's something, oh my God, we take up a lot of time, someone else should be having a go, I'm monopolizing and that's so that's sort of wanting everyone to have their opportunity and chance.
So hearing, wanting everybody to have their opportunity, but there's a little bit of an overlay of judgment. Do you sense the voice is the judging of, I don't want to take up too much time?
Yeah.
And in that voice, is there another voice that says, I'm just guessing, perhaps, maybe I'm not as of value enough to take this much time.
Yeah, I was going to say something, I'm not quite worth it.
I'm not worthy.
Yeah,
So the voice that says, I'm not worthy. And maybe other people can benefit from the time. The sense of the part of you that senses he's not worthy is coming up. And just let yourself feel that.
It's interesting. But once I notice it, part of me can't quite take that seriously. It's sort of, it's like it sort of pops the bubble of that particular thing. And I guess I'm interested in what's the real yearning under the I'm not worthy. What's the...
You want to sense into that.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
Have a sense of it without quite the words. Something to do with the overall perfection, the divine perfection.
Do you sense that as you say overall perfection? You sense that experience. Okay. So when it sense that somehow linked to the voice that says I'm not worthy. So in that voice, is there a longing to know, to feel
Absolutely.
the wholeness?
Yeah.
That you not only are you worthy, that you are acceptable, that you are whole. And that's the yearning. Is that the yearning to know that and to feel that?
To be that.
To be that. Yes. Yeah. So even as you connect with that, just are you feeling the sense of the quality of that, the longing to be whole?
So this is like a sort of...
Yeah.
It's there, it's not there. It's there.
Okay. Yeah. So just noticing the in and out. Okay. That observing, that watchfulness is just all part of just this exploring this inner world, the capacity, and noticing the dynamic, the nuance. And that these things, these thoughts, these feelings that arise, they arise from aspects of your inner world. The voice that says, I'm not worthy. The link of I'm not worthy to the longing to be whole.
And there's almost this sort of breathlessness that sort of, almost like, just hold my breath, I can't quite sort of trust that there's just to stay, just to be with it.
Yeah. So the sense that can't quite trust just being with this. And when you say that, do you feel the sensation of, I can't quite trust?
Not quite sure what the feeling of that is.
Is it a hesitation?
Yeah, I sort of notice somehow my attention is somewhere around my neck and my shoulders and my back, and it's very non-specific at the moment. Yeah.
So you note where that sensation, that energy is.
Yeah, it becomes more obvious in sort of in my heart, yeah. My chest, yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering where this ends. It feels like it sort of just is rolling on, and it's very, very lovely. Yeah. And
well, my experience is that if you sense into, in a real sense, it doesn't end.
Yeah.
It's life ongoing.
Yeah.
And so we can draw this to a completion for this sort of phase of it right now, if that's okay with you. But before that, I think it's important not to end, but to have the conscious link to what you're feeling now and the original experience. That there is there is the space of this relationship and some of the dynamic that you are carrying with you. You hold in your awareness the dynamic of this relationship and sense into the value and the longing that you hold.
it has sort of just a lot of not knowing around it, or almost not particularly needing anything around it either. Sort of just oh, this is opening something, and I don't quite know what that will be yet. And yeah, no guarantees that the next conversation will go any better than the last one, but who knows? But you know, it might well do, it might not do, and it feels like it's sort of easier in me at the moment to how that might go.
Yeah, is that a sense of easier in you, a quality of acceptance? You don't know. There's an unknown.
Yeah.
You can't predict how it's going to go, but there's something in you that is different, perhaps. A sense of easiness, acceptance of however it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that easiness, acceptance, does that leave you a bit relaxed?
Oh yeah, much
more relaxed.
It's much better, and it also feels like even if it goes really badly, it's also that's okay, because I can then make use of the things I'm learning and discovering, and yeah.
And if it goes real badly, whatever that might be, there is it, as you said before, a thread of the value, what you really enjoy in this relationship, I imagine others, is this quality of mutual acceptance.
Yeah.
The beauty of this.
Yeah.
Regardless of how it goes, isn't this unchanging in you?
Let me just check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there to be. It's there to be had if I pay attention.
When you pay attention, you tune into it.
Yeah.
That value, that longing is it always there to attend to?
I don't know. I suspect it is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you.
Well, thank
in
you.
the sense that right now it's a a closing point we can close?
Yeah, definitely.
Great. All right. Thank you, Paul. So just to note what your experience was in observing the exchange between Paul and me, notice a sense that there's an invitation and a mutual exploration of the inner world, Paul's inner world. And notice that there's a kind of an openness to explore this. There's no sense of definition of the destination of where I think he ought to be or get to. There's an openness, and in this openness, there's a spaciousness. In the work that we're doing, even though I'm not guiding him or anyone else into a specific experience, there's always remembering the intention to connect to the life force, to the longing. It's always a reminder to come back to that. So in the process and the exercise that's going to follow later today, the intention is to connect to the longing as it is, as I feel it embodied within me. It can be linked to a particular experience, as Paul shared, or not necessarily. It may be my longing to connect to this particular quality more and more in my life because I value it. So this is just a little bit of commentary on the work that I did with Paul.